Amid the ashes of World War II, Japan needed more than reconstruction. It needed reinvention. A devastated economy, cities in ruins, and a people searching for identity pushed the country into a silent race. How to get back on its feet and show the world that it could lead once again? The answer began on rails. By the late 1950s, the rail lines between Tokyo and Osaka could no longer handle the growing demand of the population. Travel was slow, exhausting, and inefficient. Japan, small in territory but immense in density, needed something revolutionary. That was when Japanese engineers proposed the unthinkable. A train that would not only be faster than all the others, but that would transform the way people traveled. A leap not in speed, but in mindset. In 1959, the Tokaido Shinkansen project was born. A name that today conjures up modernity, but at the time seemed more like a futuristic bet. The idea was to reduce the travel time between Tokyo and Osaka from almost 7 hours to less than 4. Many doubted it. They called the project a stray bullet. Too fast to be safe, too expensive to be viable. But Japan pressed on. On October 1st, 1964, the world witnessed the debut of the first bullet train in history. It was the year of the Tokyo Olympic Games, and the country wanted to show the world that it had been reborn. The new train, with its aerodynamic design and speeds of up to 210 kilometers per hour, looked like something out of a science fiction film. For the first time, the distance between two of Japan's largest cities was covered efficiently and comfortably. Travel time dropped to 3 hours and 50 minutes. The impact was immediate. In the first 3 years, more than 100 million passengers embarked on this new era of mobility. The Tokaido Shinkansen didn't just transport people, it transported hopes, ideas, ambitions. For the Japanese, it was proof that they could lead the future. Its success was so resounding that it inspired other nations to rethink their infrastructure. Suddenly, the train stopped being a symbol of the industrial past and became a symbol of the urban future. And with that, Japan took a step forward, not only technologically, but also culturally. Today, the same trip between Tokyo and Osaka can be made in 2 hours and 30 minutes. The Japanese bullet train has become synonymous with precision, safety, and efficiency. But the most impressive thing is that, even decades later, it remains just the beginning. Because in Japan, speed is never the end. It is always the starting point for the next leap. While the world was still enchanted by the bullet train, Japan was already drawing a line beyond speed. Underground in the mountains, in silent laboratories and secret tests, a new promise was born. No longer a train on rails, but a train that didn't touch the ground. This was the beginning of the Japanese Maglev, official name, Chuo Shinkansen. It was not just another railway line. It was the project that could redefine once again the concept of modern transport. The principle was simple, but the execution was almost unimaginable. Magnetic levitation. Instead of wheels on rails, the train would float about 10 centimeters above a special track. No friction. No mechanical noise. Just pure speed. With technology based on superconducting magnets, cooled to extreme temperatures of around minus 269 degrees Celsius, the maglev created a magnetic field powerful enough to lift tons of steel and aluminum as if they were feathers. But there was an even more impressive detail. This levitation is only activated when the train reaches 150 kilometers per hour. Before that, it moves like a regular train. When it crosses this threshold, it literally detaches itself from the ground. And then, it begins to fly silently through tunnels and tracks, as if defying gravity itself. The maximum projected speed, 500 kilometers per hour. In tests, it reached 603 kilometers per hour, a world record for passenger trains. Impressive numbers, but they hide something even more ambitious. transforming the experience of travel. It's not just about going faster. It's about redefining the feeling of travel. On a maglev train, there's no shaking, no constant noise, no sensation of braking. It's as if time and space lose their rigidity. The Chuo Shinkansen project didn't come about overnight. It's the result of decades of research and hundreds of tests. It took years of development to reach a safety standard that's compatible with Japan, a country where the margin for error in transportation is practically zero. More than a technological feat, the Japanese maglev represents a country's obsession with improvement. The Tokyo-Nagoya line, the first stage of the project, is due to be completed in 2027. And it won't just be a new route. It will be the realization of an idea that seemed impossible. Behind the scenes, engineers say that the maglev is not just a train, it's a laboratory in motion. Every inch of the line was planned with surgical precision. Every system is redundant. Every failure is anticipated. It's also a silent cry to the world. Japan has not given up its technological leadership. And while other countries compete for innovation with speed, Japan is betting on precision, elegance, and, above all, the confidence that the impossible can indeed be designed on invisible tracks. The maglev is not just a new train line, it's a new timeline. If magnetic levitation already seemed like a leap into the future, what comes next is even more impressive. The Chuo Shinkansen is not just the fastest train in the world, it is also one of the first fully autonomous mass transit systems. There are no drivers, no control booth at the front. The control is on the tracks. It is the system itself that thinks, calculates, corrects, and protects. This operating model revolutionizes safety. Total control by sensors and computers eliminates human error, speeds up responses to unexpected events, and drastically reduces the risk of accidents. In Japan, where punctuality is a national obsession, this represents more than efficiency. It represents trust. But this project goes beyond onboard intelligence. It literally crosses the country's geography. To cover the distance between Tokyo and Nagoya, approximately 285 kilometers, the engineers decided to bury the future. Approximately 256 kilometers of the route will be made in underground tunnels. It is no coincidence. The decision to drill through the heart of Japan is not aesthetic, it is strategic. The line cuts through highly mountainous regions, such as the Southern Alps. The alternative would be to go around these elevations, but this would increase time and complexity. By choosing to cross them, Japan has faced one of the greatest civil engineering challenges in modern history. Tunnel after tunnel, deep excavations, controlled explosions, seismic reinforcements. Each meter covered is an almost epic achievement. Some tunnels are more than 1,400 meters deep. At certain points, the maglev will pass under entire cities, dense forests, waterways, and tectonic plates. Japan is literally building a technological artery under its own skin. And all of this with defined deadlines. The Tokyo-Nagoya section is due for completion in 2027. The extension to Osaka is scheduled for 2037. 10 years earlier than originally imagined, which in itself would be bold for any country. In Japan, it is a challenge with the outline of promise. The works are taking place in silence. Far from the eyes of the general public, excavators and robots operate in ceaseless shifts. Every millimeter excavated is a delicate operation. Japanese soil is unstable. Earthquakes are frequent. That's why each tunnel has special reinforcements, seismic shock absorbers, evacuation systems, and redundancies designed to withstand the worst-case scenario. It's not just a railway line. It's a demonstration of what happens when a country combines tradition, technology, and an obsession with excellence. With each tunnel that opens, Japan closes a cycle of dependence on the past and carves out a future that no one else dared to imagine. The Chuo Shinkansen doesn't cut through Japan. It rebuilds it. Meter by meter, it redefines what's possible when one decides to cross the barriers of time, land, and logic. No great work is born without resistance. And in the case of the Chuo Shinkansen, the greatest obstacle didn't come from technology. It came from land and politics. Between Tokyo and Nagoya, there's a region that has become the epicenter of a national impasse, Shizuoka Prefecture. There, amid dense forests and protected mountains, runs the Oi River, one of the main sources of water for central Japan. And it is precisely under it that engineers have planned to pass the new Maglev tunnel. For many, it would be yet another feat of engineering. But for local residents and officials, it was a risk that could not be ignored. The concern was simple. Digging under the river basin could alter the natural flow of water, reducing the supply for more than 600,000 people. In a country where water resources are treated with almost sacred reverence, this was not a technical issue. It was an existential issue. The governor of Shizuoka, upon realizing the scale of the impact, decided to transform local resistance into a political platform. He was elected in 2009 with a clear message: to block the construction of the tunnel until absolute guarantees were presented. It was not enough to reduce the risk. It was necessary to eliminate it. The opposition gained strength. Residents, environmentalists, and authorities formed a block of resistance. Meetings, protests, and technical opinions multiplied. And, as advanced as the Maglev project was, it had to stop. For the first time, the future had to ask permission from the past and negotiate with geography. JR Central, the company responsible for the train, presented studies, simulations, and even proposals for environmental compensation. But the impasse persists. At times it seems less like a discussion about engineering and more like a philosophical debate. To what extent can technological advances override ecological balance? While tunnels are advancing in other regions, the Shizuoka section remains at a standstill, like an open scar on a project that was born to be perfect. And this exposes a vulnerability that few expected. Even the greatest technology in the world can be slowed down by a small river. There is a silent irony in this battle. The fastest train in history is being held back by a 168-kilometer-long stream. The symbol of the future is caught in an age-old dispute: man, nature, and power. For Japan, accustomed to absolute efficiency, the impasse represents more than a delay. It is a moral test. Because sometimes, before crossing mountains and conquering distances, one must learn to negotiate with one's roots. The Maglev may float on the rails, but in Japan, no project floats above reality. While Japan carves out its future with surgical precision, China is racing across the open field. 2 countries, 2 paths, 1 ambition: to dominate 21st century transport. The Chuo Shinkansen is the silent pride of a technical and meticulous Japan. China, on the other hand, is betting on immediate impact, unbridled expansion, and a show of strength. But the numbers are hard to ignore. China currently has 2/3 of the world's high-speed rail network. In 2021, it introduced its own Maglev train to the world, designed to reach speeds of 600 kilometers per hour, a direct rival to the Japanese project, but with one crucial difference: the speed at which the project was implemented. While Japan takes decades to complete a 300-kilometer stretch, China builds thousands of kilometers in just a few years. Beijing and Shanghai, 2 megacities separated by more than 1,000 kilometers, can be connected in 3.5 hours with the new Maglev, a time shorter than that of a commercial flight, considering the total journey time, boarding, and security. What's more, the Chinese model was developed independently, without the need to import Japanese technology. What began as an inspiration has become a competitor. And now, a threat. Within Japan, the Chuo Shinkansen project has already garnered criticism. The initial budget, which was $13.7 billion US, has already exceeded $64 billion US, one of the most expensive mega projects in the country's history. Experts point out bottlenecks, high energy consumption, low passenger capacity, limited intervals between trains, one every 10 minutes, compared to 3 minutes for traditional bullet trains. For some, the Maglev is a masterpiece that few will be able to use, but Japan sees beyond the immediate. The true goal of the Chuo Shinkansen is not just to connect cities, it is to merge them. Tokyo and Osaka, the country's two largest economic hubs, are being connected not by rail, but by time. The idea is to create a mega-region, similar to the Northeast Corridor in the US, from Washington to Boston, or the Pearl River Delta in China. If the first bullet train helped Japan become the second largest economy in the world in the 1970s and 1980s, the Maglev could be the trigger for a new era. A new regional, urban, connected, intelligent power. The race with China, in this sense, is not just about speed. It is a dispute over a model of the future. One bets on scale, volume, and speed. The other on precision, safety, and excellence. And between them, the world observes, calculates, and is inspired. Because in the end, it is not just about who gets there first. It's about who carries more people safely, with purpose and vision. The Chuo Shinkansen is not just a railway line, it's a statement. And the whole world is listening. In a world that seems to be moving faster and faster, Japan is showing that true progress lies not only in speed, but in vision. The Maglev is not just a train, it's a promise, a reminder that even the most impossible paths can be traced, as long as there is courage, patience, and precision. Now that you know what's behind the scenes of this silent revolution, the question that remains is, do you believe that the future should be faster or more conscious? If this story made you think, if it impacted you in some way, like this video, leave a comment with your opinion on the Japanese Maglev. Share it with someone who loves engineering and innovation. And, of course, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next stories that reveal what the world is building in silence. The future is in motion, and you are invited to get on board.